focusing on what's happening in the local area. Our speaker now is the U.S. Congressman for the Sherman Oaks area, who is involved in both local matters like money for transportation from the federal government to the San Fernando Valley and Sherman Oaks in particular, as well as being a person focused on national and international events. He serves and will be sworn in shortly as chairman of the very powerful House Foreign Affairs Committee. That committee sets the foreign policies for the United States, oversees the State Department and the embassies, and oversees foreign aid for countries across the world. We've been working with Howard Berman for over 30 years. First when he was in the State Assembly representing Sherman Oaks, and then when he went to Congress, he represented Sherman Oaks for most of, how many years in Congress? 25 years in Congress, most of that representing Sherman Oaks. A very respected congressman, not a congressman that you see, him in the press every day, because that's not his style, it's not the way he works. But we've worked with him over the years, and we know that he is very effective at getting things done, getting money for the San Fernando Valley. And with that, I'd like to introduce Congressman Howard Berman.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. It's, I guess, been about a year and a half since I was here last, and the crowd keeps growing, and I'm very grateful that you missed the lunar eclipse to listen to me.
I saw it.
I saw it.
I thought I did, but then they tell me that was a cloud because it hadn't happened.
No.
See, I knew I see it. We saw it outside our house before we came over here. Officer Diamo, I just want to thank you very much, because as you described the different threats that should cause homeowners to consider calling 311 or 911 regarding suspicious characters, you did not include in your listing political candidates soliciting votes. So thanks for giving us a little slack on that one. And but again, I have a very special feeling for what the LA Police Department does to protect us, to deter crime, to apprehend criminals, the risk they take. We saw it just again this past week with what sounds like a really remarkable officer who was killed in the line of duty, and I think all of our condolences go to all of the officers and for all you do every day in your losses. And one of the things I'm most proud about is having been able at different times over the course of my congressional career to help try and get some federal funds for both the increase in officers on the beat and the equipping and the technology available to help you do your job. So it's good to have you here and to hear your report, and thank you again for what you do. I'd like to just introduce a couple of people. First of all, has been my partner all those years that I've been working with the Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association. My wife, who makes a great deal of sacrifice for me to be able to have the honor of this job, and please welcome her, Janice Berman. And for those who work with my office, you will probably know two of my staff who are here with me tonight. She's been with me since 1975, Pearl Ritchie, and is the office manager and is my institutional memory, and a very valued aide who worked with me a number of projects throughout my district, Fred Flores. Fred. I looked at what I was supposed to talk about tonight. The war on terror, Iraq, Iran, the Israel-Palestinian conflict, the entire Middle East, the economy, healthcare. And I said, even with the excitement of the presidential race, I could put you to sleep. And so instead, I'm going to just very briefly talk about some issues that I am prepared to elaborate on based on your questions, and try and sort of set the table that way, tell you a little bit about what I'm working on. Ring that bell in about 8 or 9 minutes, and then we'll go right, and I'll spend as much time as you want. I don't know what time they kick us out of here, answering your questions, and give it to me. Talk louder? Yes.
Louder.
We'll take as much time as we need to answer as many questions as we can in the time we have. I do want to make one other introduction, though, because one of my positions I'll get to in a little while deals with the oversight and legislation affecting the federal courts, and we are pleased to have someone who has lived in Sherman Oaks as long as I've known him, a Ninth Circuit judge on the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals, Ray Fisher, is come here as a local homeowner tonight with his wife Nancy. And even though he's in another branch of government, we're glad to have him here. The foreign affairs issue. Well, let me talk about what's happening to me a little bit, because things have changed. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, since the Democrats got control, he was the ranking member when the Republicans were in control for the past 5 or 6 years, and has been in Congress since even before I got there. There's a fellow named Tom Lantos. Tom is quite an extraordinary figure and in many ways an irreplaceable one. In late December, Tom was diagnosed with very late stage esophageal cancer and passed away last week. Tom had been the only survivor of the Holocaust ever to serve in Congress. He fought in the Nazi underground against the Nazis as a direct result of the work of Raoul Wallenberg, a Swedish diplomat representing a country that was neutral during World War II, but who used his authority as a diplomat in Budapest, issued visas to people who were Jews and others who were subject to persecution and ultimately elimination by the Nazis, and that allowed Tom Lantos and his then girlfriend, who later became his wife for many, many years, Annette, to escape Budapest, migrated to the United States, got an education here, got elected to Congress in 1980 after teaching as a professor in economics for many years, and was probably as outspoken and articulate a voice on the issue of human rights protections for all kinds of dissidents and minorities throughout the world in so many different causes. Well, he passed away, and under the merit system we have in Congress, that is, who's the next most senior person, I am now the acting chairman, and in March will probably become the full chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. It definitely changes one's life. In the last 5 days, phone calls from the State Department about the decision to recognize Kosovo as an independent country, the transition from Fidel Castro, who has been supposedly about to die for 20 years, to Raul Castro, orchestrated by Fidel Castro, it looks like, in Cuba, a number of other issues. At 6 in the morning, we got a call on my cell phone on Monday morning. It turned out to be from our plumber in Washington, dealing with our apartment there, but that wasn't about these issues. But it doesn't stop every day. Something is happening around the world. But in this country, what is, I think right now,